The date is March 12th, 2040. Approximately 14 years since the arrival of the Pillars. It's been a few days. I'm sorry. I still don't know if you're listening, but I know you're still out there. You have to be. And if you aren't, well, we're still alive. We're still looking for answers, collecting data. Maybe somebody will find these and will find a way to stop this whole thing. I just... How can you begin to describe something like this? Anyway, we went outside while it was still safe, worked on getting the generators inside and fixed up, stocked up on rations. The rest of the lab was shut down, which left us with a whole bunker to ourselves. We don't know what happened to the research team, but I have a pretty good idea of what did happen to them. Banks told me he was going to go find his family. Liv left a few years ago. I think Decker's dead. The others are probably dead too. I think it's just me and Astor now. He's not too keen on recording. Anyway, there's enough rations to last us about 6 months maybe, which is hopefully more than enough time to conduct further research. I still don't entirely know what our research at the Grid is exactly, but before the Grid hired us, we worked with another organization to study the Pillars, record any strange phenomenon, radiation signals, observing them, whatever they were. We had something going for us. I mean, I thought we did. it was a strong team. They understood what we were dealing with, and that what this was, it was beyond us. Far beyond us. The rest of us stuck around until we didn't, other than myself and Astor, of course. The higher-ups at the Grid went silent so soon into our initial research they told us to just watch, observe, much like we did with the Pillars, and then they just left us here to die. And I can't imagine how many more died too. Hey, what are you doing back there?
Sorry, just getting generators set up. You put them in a really weird place.
Yeah, well, I couldn't worry about that at the moment. I'm recording a transmission right now. It's
scientific research bullshit. I get it. Hey, did you even check to see how much juice we got left in these things? 'Cause
it's just, there's a little bit, it was all that they had up there, and...
A little bit. Okay, well, wrap up whatever you're doing soon. We're gonna have to get some gasoline for these before we board out.
Right, I know, but can that wait until tomorrow? The sun's gonna be setting any moment now, and I don't know what it's gonna be like, and we're gonna make it through the night, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
That's Astor. He's not too keen on doing recordings. I mean, I've tried to get him to see. Yeah, don't give me that look. Yeah, what? You're moving the generators. I get it. So sorry. I'm not. Things are just a little tense around here right now. We're not too good at this end of the world survival type thing. I mean, that isn't to imply that the world's ending now. It's been gone for nearly a decade, maybe two. I'm trying to keep track, but it's a blur. I mean, we're scientists. This is what we do. I mean, where was I? I was talking about the Pillars, the epidemic, the infected. Yeah. Okay. I think with our job, with our work, it's all about patience, waiting and watching and seeing. We have cameras set up around the perimeter, and they're set off by motion detection, and anything that walks by, we should be able to see them. We've had some vague footage of the infected wandering by, but there's not many in our area. They're drawn to heat signatures and populated locations. Our laboratory is kind of out here, close to the mountains. Anyway, if it's true that the epidemic was linked to the pillars, then I think it's up to us to understand what's happening out there. Like I said before, I mean, I don't know where to begin, but we're going to find something. I mean, we have to find something. I haven't seen one of the infected myself yet, but there's notes that we have from our old team and from one of our scientists that's up north. Further up north. But I know Liv saw one. She saw one in the early days when we were starting to get this team together. You see, the grid, they just showed up one day. I don't know how else to put it. They just showed up. We all got emails from them saying that we were well equipped for the job, that they were impressed by our observations or our hypothesis or theories. And we know as much about the grid as you do. You know, some people think that they were responsible for this whole mess, emerging right when the infection was gaining its peak. Others think that the grid was a formation of government officials who saw the infected first counters or something. Either way, they're the reason that we're here. They hired us to find something, to understand what this infection is, whether that be about the pillars or the epidemic. Just know that I'll be damned before I fail. But enough emotional rambling from me. I think it's about time that we got into some of the notes that our team has collected over the past few months. What we'll be going over now are some notes from our colleague further up north, Dr. Huey Turner. We've been trying to reach him for any further updates on what he's found. So far, we haven't gotten any transmissions, but we have his notes, at least as much as he was able to report to us at the moment. Okay, here. I think this will be a good place to start. About 3 years ago, 11 years post-arrival, global reports of a virus had begun to surface. But these reports were quickly subdued, hidden by the government. The epidemic was said to have originated somewhere in Scandinavia, symptoms being erratic behavior, unexplainable physical mutation. But there was only so much that the government could hide. While it spread only to North America some few months ago, we're fortunate that it can only be exchanged through a bite or direct exposure to an output of biological excrement. This sickness has a near 50% death rate, unless you sever the impacted limbs or avoid infected corpses, but it says here that most aren't lucky enough. It's impossible to completely contain a fast-spreading plague. In failure to find a non-existent cure, world governments have poured their money into creating walls and robotics to combat the growing epidemic, amongst more mundane methods, such as the grid. That's about as much as we have from Dr. Turner at the moment. I don't think I can read these further. But I suppose I can talk a bit about my experience with the pillars, our experience with the pillars, and the infected. Many, myself and Astor included, we speculated that the epidemic had something to do with the pillars themselves. Despite their formless appearance and an enigmatic lack of behavior, all that we truly knew of them, and that we truly do know of them, is that they're just pillars. Black masses of flat void, completely unmoving and null in any semblance of being organic or artificial. They've never moved, completely stagnant against the rotation of the planet. And at some point or another, they've crossed every continent, every ocean, defying everything that we know about the laws of physics, and maybe even the universe. They're beyond our understanding, much like this spontaneous epidemic. The existence of the virus is as elusive and misunderstood as its alleged creators, so we've settled for the concept that this epidemic, this pestilence, it's of cosmic origin, and it's unlike anything that this planet has faced. It's not a natural extinction, it's a parasite, and it's unnatural in every aspect.